5:31 according to that clock, so I think that we should get started. Okay, so this is, oh, here comes Rick. Okay, I'll wait another minute. Don't trip, Rick.
Well, just keeps the door open.
That was to,
You're the last one, so it can honestly stay closed.
Not important.
okay, well, Rick had settled, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. First thing to do is the approval of last month's minutes. Did everybody get a chance to read them? Someone wanna make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
Second. Everybody in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, the minutes are approved. There are no public visitors, so we can go straight on to Scott.
I have nothing because we do not have a meeting this week because of Old Oregon cities, they're going to Bend, so we will have it next week.
And I think that's where the strategic plan is being presented.
Yes, at the work session.
So are we allowed to come?
Yes. Yes.
So it's at 7 or 6?
The work session starts at 6, but I think we're going on about 6:30, so I would probably be in there by 6:15.
6:15. Was that here?
Yes.
Wednesday, that would be 10.
Wednesday, the 23rd.
It's on my calendar, but I have it on my calendar for 7, so I'm gonna turn it. Is everybody else planning to come?
You can also watch live. Oh, actually, work session.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, you can still watch the work session. You can't come.
I probably will come.
I make no promises, but I jotted it down.
Based on what I've seen in the past and other people, but when there's something going on, it does help. City council members pay attention when the public shows up, so. Would that not be correct, Scott?
I think they take it more seriously.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's nice when, yeah.
Yeah, so, if you make it, that's great, if not, don't worry about it. So, hey, anybody have any questions for Scott? Okay, so I sent out my chair report, did everybody get a chance to read it?
Yes. I didn't get it for some reason.
I sent it again to you,
Oh,
like
okay.
4 minutes after you,
Oh, all right.
look here.
Thank you.
That there's, the big thing is that I did get feedback from the Friends or the Foundation in time to finish the how do I for this week. So I got it finished, but there wasn't time for people to look at it. What we're gonna do then is Marissa wants to make some changes to it. She wants to make some edits. So we will get that out to you in plenty of time for you to review it before the November meeting. And the other thing that I have on there is that last year, our meeting was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so we decided just to have a combined November-December meeting afterwards. There are no conflicts this year. I looked at the calendar. What I'd like to do is have the November meeting and then decide at that time if we want to have a December meeting or not. Does that sound okay to people? Okay. And since I have your attention, I'm just going to go ahead and do the Friends report as well. I did get some information. The 2 pieces of big news is that the Canopy Fair Library is open and the Friends have bookshelves down there. And evidently they've been selling quite a few books according to Patty. The other thing is that there will be a Christmas tour of homes and it's going to be December 14th from 2 to 5 p.m. There are also, there's potential of a possible Burger Grill partnership where if you eat at Burger Grill that night, 20% of the amount that you spend will go to the Friends. So when we get more information on that, I will let you know. They've been doing more like in the Candy Advantage magazine, there's a coupon and things like that. You guys have probably seen that. The Friendship Drive, the membership is called Friendship with the Friends. draft envelopes for next year will be going out in November. And the annual meeting is set for January 23rd from 4 to 5 p.m. in the Willamette Room. I gotta put that on my calendar. So, and then they're doing a lot of publicity, both for Retro Revival. I hope everybody realizes that when we get like old classic books in, that we take them down to Retro Revival. They try very hard to sell them. And the only thing that Susie recoups is the cost of shipping and the 3% Visa charge. The rest of the money comes straight to the friends. So that's very nice of her. So anything you can do to support Retro Revival also helps the friends of the library.
She has been doing that for
Years.
years since we opened that store.
So she's a very good friend. We appreciate that about her. So that was all that I have. Did anybody have any questions for me?
Tell me again when the tour of homes is.
The tour of homes is
14th.
the 14th from 2 to 5 p.m. And I think they're still looking for a few homes if you know anybody who wants to do it. So. Okay. Okay. So, you want to talk about the board member reports now, or do you want to talk about Linnea, or do you want to do that with the action items? Because I would ask Jennifer to do that, so.
Let's do the information reports and then do that.
Okay. So there's no board member reports, anything on LDAC?
No.
Not a peep? Well, that's easy. So Marissa, that means you?
Okay. Just a few things. Let's see, we're currently working on a new emergency evacuation plan for the library. We're doing that with the city, obviously, but we are really just updating our entire plan because a lot of things have changed, and we're doing that in partnership with Canby Fire and Canby PD. Let's see, Philip, our children's librarian, will be on leave from the end of this month. The plan is October 25th, but it might be earlier than that, through December 23rd. His wife is having a baby, so he'll be out for 2 months then, and then another month in the spring. But we already have his plan ready to go, and let me tell you, he does a lot because there's a lot of stuff we have to do while he's gone.
Is this their first child?
No, second.
Second.
Yeah.
Well, that's right, I can't hear her talk about it.
Yeah, they have a son, Joe. He's I think 8 or 9. He's very, very sweet. And he loves my huskies. He's like obsessed with them.
Oh.
So it's just really funny. It was the first time I've ever seen someone tire my younger one out. It was amazing. Anyway, yeah, just reminding you guys about the strategic plan presentation to City Council at the work session next week, the 23rd. I would probably be in there about 6:15, 6 if you want to start at the work session starting time. Stephen, our librarian, our collection development librarian and volunteer coordinator, is now a notary public for the library. There's a lot of stuff that he cannot and will not notarize, like wills and birth certificates and really like important documents that you should, go to a lawyer for. But he can notarize a lot of other documents. And so he generally would prefer to have appointments, but if he's here, he'll do it then and there.
Is there a charge?
There is no charge for that. However, on our webpage, which if you go to the library's website, actually, I'll just go to it for you. I'll show you here. There is no charge, but we do, say if someone does want to donate money to some specific groups here. So here is the little page. It basically just has his information on it. It has the guidelines and what people need to keep in mind if they're gonna have something notarized through us. If anybody is needing to notarize something that is actually like City of Canby business, they can contact Maya down here. But we did put right here, there is no charge for the service, but a $10 donation to the Friends or the Foundation is appreciated. So people can if they want. Yeah, thought that was a good idea. So anyway, let me get back to that screen. Okay, we updated our request for reconsideration form, which is the form that if someone has a problem with something that we have in the actual library, they have to fill out the form. The only thing that we did was we asked a couple more questions. We really wanted to make sure if someone's going to ask us and the library advisory board to reconsider something, that they read or watch whatever it is in its entirety and answer some questions so we can get some more information from them. Also, and this is coming about because of what has happened the past couple of years with a lot of people going above library staff's head, is I will not bring that form filled out from anyone here unless they talk to me first. And it can be a, hi, how are you? Give me the form. Great, that's fine. But they need to talk to us first. So at the very least, I can show them the policy and explain why decisions are made. So there's copies of that form at the desk and I'll send that out to all of you. Library annual state report was submitted. We have to do that every year. It takes quite a bit of time to gather a bunch of statistics from the last fiscal year as far as what the library has done, but that is done and submitted. All of our numbers were higher than the previous year, which is no surprise. And then finally, the library was closed yesterday for staff development day, carpet cleaning, and the new teen mural is up. So at the very end of this meeting, we're gonna go do a little show and tell field trip. It looks amazing and you're just gonna be shocked. And it was done by Canby Graphics, which did a fantastic job. They've done other stuff in the library too, but it looks so cool. You guys are just gonna love it. So they put that up all day yesterday. We did not think they were going to finish it and they did, and it's just amazing. So we're planning to do a little kind of teen family open house just to celebrate that entire almost 8-year project. But it looks great and we're really excited to have everyone see it. So those are all my updates.
Correct.
Any questions?
I did have a question. When you update your emergency process, how, like at school, we train our kids to do, how do you do that with the public?
You can't really. Part of the problem is, and this is something that I learned in talking to, I think his name is Mark at Canby Fire. There's a specific, so library staff specifically, we have to do our best to help the folks who maybe can't help themselves. It's our job to get as many people out of the building as possible. However, it just depends on the day and who's in here. I can tell you when we've had fire alarms go off, some people just stay seated and don't move. And we're like, we have to get out of the building and they don't move. So it's really, we have to make an effort. We have to help, children, disabled, older adults, people who can't hear. We have to help them the best that we can, but outside of that, it's our job to evacuate and then have Canby Fire or Canby PD come and do everything else.
So in
Yeah.
businesses, they have what's called like a floor monitor. And so basically all the library staff become floor monitors.
Yeah, well, basically, we're in the process of purchasing some vests, some backpacks, some clipboards, some first aid stuff that can travel. We have very specific plans. We have a first exit point that we would like people to go through, a second one, a third one. We have like 3 backup plans. The one thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that our emergency evacuation plan is similar to the city's, but that we're not all trying to leave at the same time through the same door. But that's also what Canby Fire and Canby PD said, is that it's our job to do our best, but in the end, it's also their job to get people out that won't leave or can't leave. So yeah, I'll let you guys know once that's finished. I'm just going over some of the emergency evacuation maps that I have to update. But I'll give you all that information once it's done, which should be by the next meeting, I think.
Any other questions for Brenda? Okay, policy manual review. My favorite policy. Okay, I actually read it and I have some comments. Is that what the purpose of this was?
Yes,
Okay.
comments, questions, suggestions, just tell me the page number so I can make a note in here.
So, page 14 and 15, I only want to make a comment, but this is why we need the city attorney, because you have too many legal things in here that not having the city attorney makes it very, very.
Also, let me tell you real quick, a majority of this manual has not changed, and was gone through by the city attorney at the time. Once you guys basically approve of it, it'll go to our new city attorney, all the changes made. But there's a couple things we added, a couple things we changed, minor little things, but for the most part, a lot of this the city attorney has already seen.
Yes, but it has to be, if you don't have a city attorney, you can't do some of this stuff.
We have our city attorney, David, he's part of a firm that does,
Yes,
so.
yes.
Anyway. And he's looked through actually parts of this manual, like the Maker Lab piece, which is new, he's already approved that himself. That was on its own. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, that was the only comment I had about that.
Was it on page 14 and 15?
Yeah, that whole section, it just read it thinking, well, you can't do something instead unless you have a city attorney.
Which technically we do, it's just not in-house.
What do I do with this? Oh, well.
Put it up on the screen.
I was gonna ask you, if we can bring up on the screen. Good.
The other specific sections. I can also just tell you, obviously, the mission statement and vision statement are new, those are in the new strategic plan. We updated the loan periods information because that was super outdated. We took away some of the charges and fees that we, as far as I know, never charged people. They're not even in the master fee schedule, so we took those out. We added that non-monetary donation paragraph, even nicely. We updated the terms and conditions and restrictions and limitations to all of the meeting rooms. And I'll tell you, part of that came about because the past couple of months, we've had a lot of people reserving those rooms and leaving huge messes. I mean, like a trash can this big filled with no tops, 20 coffee cups filled to the top.
Oh, thank you.
And I have been having to clean it,
Yes.
which is not my favorite use of time. So we're kind of making things a little bit more limiting. You can still bring in snacks, but they've gotta be cleaner, like packaged snacks. You can bring in things to drink, but they need to have lids. We're just kind of asking people to clean up after themselves a little bit better. Yeah, so there's that. We added that non-collection materials policy. Program registration we changed because we went from doing all of our program registration in person, like with physical sign-up sheets, but we're going to online registration now, partially because a lot of our, the registration software that we're using actually sends reminders to people, which is helpful. And then the Maker Lab policy and rules in there, that's all brand new, that has already been approved by the city attorney. And then the very last piece of this, let me go to this. Right before all of the appendices, I added this. It says the Canby Public Library Policy Manual will be reviewed on a rotating 3-year cycle. This is fairly average. The Library Advisory Board may amend provisions of the policy manual at any time by majority vote though. So we can always go into bits and pieces and change things as we need to. But that's the plan, is to review it in its entirety every 3 years to make sure everything is exactly as we want it to be and as it actually is. Yeah, that's pretty much it. A large majority of the manual didn't change, or I might have updated a couple words here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty solid.
So I actually still have a couple more comments.
Yeah, go for it.
So on page 19, the 6th or 7th line down, their personal link library card must be in good standing, $25 or less in fines. But later on, down the page, you call them lost, damaged fines. I just think you should be consistent. Fines or lost, damaged fines, are they the same thing? Are they, the fact that you have just, a couple paragraphs in between them, I just think that for consistency's sake, it would be the same, should be the same thing.
So Yeah, let me explain that, and then if you still don't understand, I will actually change it in there. Personal link library card must be in good standing, $25 or less in fines. Most of our items, some of them are less, but most of our items are around $25 or more. And so regular fines are different than lost and damaged fines.
Oh.
Lost and damage is you're paying for a book or an item or, some sort of damage that happened. Fines could just be overdue fines.
Anybody can have more than $25 and not do fines?
Anyone can have more than $25 in fines
Okay.
if you want, but your card is blocked. If
Okay,
you're under
I just want
$25,
to understand why they were different, that was all.
yeah.
Okay. So, on page 28, so individuals still questioning library materials. Okay, so the library board will consider whether the material, so that, basically, we've never done that yet. But that's the policy.
So we haven't had to because people keep going above me and your heads and talking
And this
to,
is it's referring back to our installation policy.
yes.
Okay.
And so at this point, really what the policy manual says and what is supposed to happen is someone talks to me, fills out the request for reconsideration form, I give it to you.
Right.
You guys look at our policy manual and our collection development policy specifically. Does that item fall under that policy, yes or no? And then in writing, I have to write a response and send that to them.
So, yeah, we wrote the policy, so we understand how it works, but it hasn't actually, people aren't actually following it.
Yeah, I know, knock on wood it doesn't, but at the same time, I mean, we could practice, I could have a library staff fill something out.
I just wanted to clarify, because that was like, things like, yeah, we're supposed to be doing that, but we haven't done it yet.
Yeah, and it's not my decision, it's not library staff's decision, it's your decision
Right.
along with the policy with it.
I suspect that most people don't think they can get very far bringing it.
Well, the library advisory board is supposed to represent the public, so they should be coming to us.
And again, if there's something in there that our policy manual really doesn't cover, we will take it out.
Okay.
We just try to make decisions where that wouldn't happen.
When you say people have been going above your head,
Walking upstairs in the city administrator's office.
and then where does it go from there? Where do you?
So normally what the city administrator, and this has happened to, I think I've talked to 3 city administrators with 3 different instances. One of them sent the person back down to the library and said, you need to go talk to them, which was the right call. Another one sent me an email and asked me what to do, so then I told them and then I responded to the person, which was also the right call. And then the third one, I think, just didn't say anything and kept the book that they had a problem with and just left it at their desk, and then they brought it back down to me later. So none of them were wrong per se, but that's not the way that things are supposed to go, partially because the city administrator doesn't know what happens. They don't know about our policy. You
So
know,
is
they've
she
got a lot going
supportive
on.
of the escalation policy that we created?
Oh yeah, everybody is. Everyone I've ever talked to is like, that makes a lot of sense, and that's what most libraries, most if not all libraries do. So we've had support from all the city administrators. I continue to want people, if they're going to go above our heads, the people above to send them back down.
Yes.
That's not the way to do it.
Not show up at city council meetings.
Over a library.
Yeah, well.
In public, they show up.
Yeah.
You were on the city council, that's Scott. We don't hold you.
You missed all that.
It was really fun. So.
Okay,
now
that was all the
for-
questions I had.
Next.
Go for it, Jen.
I have 2.
Okay.
One minor and one a little more not minor.
Okay.
On the holidays on page 54, do you guys get Juneteenth?
So, no, the police get Juneteenth off, we get Martin Luther King Day, it was one or the other, so, yeah, police get it. I think they've talked about switching, but I doubt that'll happen, so police gets Juneteenth, we get Martin Luther King Day.
Okay, and then, thank you. And then the second question I had was, starting with a statement, what a gift that people in the community who maybe don't have banking relationships can get notary services for free at the library when it's available. I don't know if any other city employee gives notary services for free, but I think that's phenomenal. And especially to underserved people. It's not in the policy manual. Had you given any thought to putting something in there?
We'd given it thought, but as far as anything else to add it in here, we haven't. And that's partially because we did have a previous notary, it was Lizzie, our previous supervisor, but then she left. And so, and we didn't even know Stephen was gonna be a notary, but he went through the training, and I can't guarantee.
That's why I
that
can't
we'll
guarantee
be able to do it, yeah.
Unless there's always there's a person and a backup person, so it's best not to put it in the policy manual.
But if you have a practice and you haven't documented it, then are you opening yourself up for complaints? That's all I'm wondering. Like, even if it said notary is provided above and beyond the normal library offerings and available.
The problem with notary is that an individual person has to do it. The library can't sign up to do it and send to multiple people. It has to be, it's tied to an individual person. So, I mean, this is a at-will employment state, so it's really, really tricky to put that stuff in there.
And this was partly in response to Maya, our city recorder and administrative director. She was having a lot of people asking her for notary services, but she only does notary services for city of Canby business. So then we're like, okay, that seems like a hole we can fill. And then Stephen went through the process and was like, I can do it. So I can't guarantee that we'll always have a notary, but it will definitely be something we try to always have.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's great.
It's a good question.
I think it's great, yeah.
Any other questions?
Just, one is more of an editing situation, 3.1, Canby Public Library, I don't know, page, I'm looking from the old,
Page 9.
okay.
Okay.
And in the interest of consistency, I was wondering, we kind of made an edit on this, I forget what we were talking about, I think a mission statement before, but anyway, the second paragraph, where, I mean, can you bring it up on
Oh, yeah, sorry.
line, I guess, or,
Yes.
and I've got some notes on here, I just wondering, and just, I just feel that we should be consistent and like, I'm reading what I think we should kind of edit. Canby Public Library is a member of libraries in Clackamas County, like we talked about before.
I see what you're saying.
And then the parentheses in caps, link, LINCC, close parentheses. And then the flow from there, to me, since it's in the beginning, that this is where they recognize that their first recognition of the district, the Canby Library District, which is a lot of confusion, don't know what's going on. And then as far as editing, I would continue the next paragraph, next sentence, towards the end, intergovernmental agreements approved by the city of Canby and link, LINCC, period. And then the last sentence would be link provides the cities with automated library system, blah, 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 to the end. And then anytime, I didn't have time to get through the entire manual, but I was hoping that maybe we can be consistent, that any time a district is mentioned, it's referred to as link, which refers actually back to the beginning, like I said, the beginning definition, which is 3.1.
I'm like 99% sure that it's not referenced anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't know, I couldn't get it.
I'll go through it just to make sure, but everything else didn't really have to do with that
It's a
specific.
nitpicky thing, but it's an education thing for,
Yeah.
again, somebody new in town, what's this all about, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any issues?
So it is a library district, but I would just do Capital Public Libraries, member of the library district of Clackamas County, comma, also known as Link, LINCC. And then you could put link, but it is actually a library district,
Right.
that part is correct.
Well, but it's defining it after the first sentence, this district is referring to the previous sentence.
Yes.
This district is a member of libraries, and then this district is created by the will of the people. So that is a definition of the district, to me. The district refers to the name of the district, which is libraries and Clackamas County. Because Link, I mean, I just learned about Link, you know, when I got on the board here, and I've been in town for 40 years.
Johnson don't look at your library card.
No, never look at it. It's an nitpicky thing, but I just feel that we should just designate it as the acronym itself should be.
I get what you're saying. I would also like people to not be confused.
You could always just, like I said, put it in parentheses or comma, also known as.
I like what you said. The Canby Public Library is a member of the Library District of Clackamas County, also known as Libraries in Clackamas County, Link.
Whatever verbiage is great. I mean,
Yeah.
I just want to get that link in there somehow.
Well, it makes sense because what you're saying, we don't talk about it as a district. I mean, if you're on my side of things, we talk about it as a district, but for everybody else, they're like.
It's just link, and I
Yeah,
agree with
exactly.
Rick that the word link should be in there early.
It shouldn't be anywhere else in here. I'll make sure it's not, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the second thing is kind of a question education on previously 3.26, 3.2.6, powers and duties of the board, our board.
Yeah.
And I know this has always been in there, but towards the end, is we've got submitting an annual report to the city council, which we did, as an advisory board, and the state library. Now, I don't know if we officially, as a board, have ever.
So one of the things I wanted to do before Joe left was I wanted to sit down and go over this stuff because I think it's very poorly written. And I think it needs to be updated, but literally I was trying to set up a meeting with him and he left. So I think that that's something, that's why I keep asking about, do we have a new city attorney? Because this whole thing is poorly written.
I agree.
So, yes, it's been on my to-do list for several years.
Okay. I just, we're not doing it, us are not making a report to the state library.
I think what that is referring to is the annual state report, which I just submitted. And generally, that report asks for and pulls a lot of information, some of which I get in meetings like this. So it's not technically you guys submitting the report, but you do help indirectly.
But even the comment about the budget, I mean, all that stuff is, it's not well written.
Well, one of the things that we certainly can do is fix up the policy manual, approve it, whatever, and then we can spend some time going through that. And
Well,
then we
I
can.
mean, this is actually from the city guidelines, so we can't change it without the city changing it.
That's why.
Well, I mean like a longer workshopping process.
Yes.
But yes.
It was mainly a discussion, no question, that's, like you said, discussion.
It's very poorly written, I agree with you, it's really, it's a lucky piece that I joined the library advisory board.
Another to-do list item.
Anything else, Rick?
No, that's it, thank you.
Okay.
I didn't get through it all, so that's the problem. I don't get to look after it, but she covered, Marissa covered the highlights, so good with that.
Okay, strategic plan, Marissa,
What?
you're next on the agenda, the
Oh.
strategic plan.
So hold on a second, before we finish this up, the current policy manual that's up on the website has a lot of wrong information on it. We wanna get the new version up as soon as we possibly can, so do we wanna continue reviewing it and talk about it at the next meeting? What would you guys like to do for next steps as far as this goes?
I agree with you that we need to get the new version up as soon as possible, so, do you wanna just, I mean, I'd be happy to approve it with the changes that we talked about as is, but I don't know how other people feel. Anybody else?
I think the changes that you made are fine, and there's a great deal of it that we can't really change anyway.
I make a motion that we approve the policy
I say,
manual as changes were suggested with the the changes.
Linda suggests everybody favors aye.
Aye.
You know, and that's with the condition that we meet with the city attorney when he or she is hired and has time available for us.
I'll keep a little parking lot of things that we will wanna go back, and just remember, we can review this
At any time.
vote and, you know, redo a whole section one at a time, whatever we want at any time.
Well, we have these changes to the policy manuals we've been here, just into sections.
Yes, and that's what we can do moving forward too, but I'll make those changes and then get that going.
Yes, then go ahead and get it going.
Okay, next up, I just wanted to basically very quickly and briefly show you the presentation that's gonna be going down next week. So I wanted to make sure it wasn't super wordy and hard to understand and read. That way I could get through it and have time for questions, but also just so it's easy to understand. So here it is. I'm very briefly going to go over these two slides, which is the first original strategic plan from 2018 to 2023. Anything you see crossed off there is stuff that we did do and we were able to accomplish. Everything else we either did not accomplish or are still in the process of accomplishing it, or it was transferred to our new strategic plan. There are the old mission and vision statements. I think they served us well at that point in time, but as you know, we changed them to reflect the current times in our new staff group and city leadership. And so none of this should be a surprise. It's all in the strategic plan you've seen, but there's the new vision statement and mission statement, and I just love that Canby lettering with the pictures in it. It's so cool. And then you'll see Rick at the very bottom. I made sure to include this because it made sense. I said in this document and presentation, community includes all those in our service area, and then everyone else that just simply uses our resources and services. So we've got strategic priority 1, which is advancing community education and outreach. So there's a couple different things that we want to do there, which involves engaging or re-engaging with those in our service area. So reestablishing relationships with Canby area schools, supporting educators and students, doing more outreach, partnering with other city departments, businesses, and organizations, and then getting more people in the building with library cards. Next up is leveraging social media to educate library users on our processes and how best to interact with our resources. Stephen, the middle one there, he's the new notary. He is also a social media genius. We created a little video that you guys are gonna laugh at. It's very much like a sitcom intro that we'll be posting soon, so just be prepared for that. But the humor we've included in our social media has led to an increase in followers and people interacting with us, so it's been very exciting. Another point here is mostly going to be on my plate, but applying for and utilizing grant funding to expand our services to underserved communities. This is something that I'm really going to be focusing on this next year and beyond that, but I'm currently taking a couple courses on grant writing. And then there's some really expensive software that Multnomah County libraries actually have. So I'm going to be going offsite a few days here and there to do some research to connect some of our needs with some grants. And then finally, supporting workforce and career development with dedicated resources and education. This was on the previous strategic plan that we weren't able to get to, but that grant funding that we got from Clackamas County that should be here, I think, next month officially is gonna be a really awesome resource for us to have so we can get some of that up and running in the library. Strategic priority number 2, build community through quality programming and services. So we want to do that by applying an equity lens to investigate ways to remove barriers and create more opportunities for curiosity and lifelong learning. We want to continue to have that annual feedback survey out so patrons can tell us how things are going and what we can do to improve. And then we also want to engage the community to get their help so they can spread the library's value. So hopefully we can go out for a new tax district and get more money at some point. And I wanted to include this Link library card because we may or may not have a new Link logo coming It's already been created. This has been in the works for like 2 or 3 years. But it sounds like September of next year, which is National Library Card Month, we're gonna roll them out then. So, and it looks really good. The first iterations did not look good, but it looks really good. And then finally, strategic priority 3, improving departmental and organizational health and stability. We're just a very small piece of a larger whole. And so we just wanted to make sure that we were focusing on the health of everyone and everything that supports the library, and that the library also supports as well. And so we basically just want to ensure strong working relationships with all of you, our foundation, and our friends. We want to continue to foster relationships with city council, other departments, and community stakeholders. And then finally, investing in our own library organizational culture, staff well-being, and growth, which is partially why we do that staff day every year on Indigenous Peoples Day, to do some of that. So, and then just the last little piece here, these are some of the goals that we are indirectly kind of answering with our strategic plan, city council goals specifically, promoting financial stability, something that I'm going to be working on until I'm no longer here, aligning resources to address future community growth, and then enhancing engagement and communications that represent broad perspectives. Here's some of our final pictures, and then we'll obviously have time for feedback and questions, but we're not asking council to vote on it. We're just asking them to support the plan, and that's generally what other libraries in Clackamas County have done with their own strategic plans. So just wanted to walk you through that. There's probably some other fun stuff that I'll say during the presentation, but none of it should be a surprise. So if you can either watch online or come or watch after the video is up, I would recommend doing that, but it'd be nice to have as much support as we can get.
Any
So there's
questions?
that.
It's beautiful.
It is.
Thank you.
It's just beautiful.
It was fun to make. It was a lot of work, but it was really fun, and obviously it was not just my part. We had a lot of people helping and
Yeah,
having
but
input and looking at it and all
but
that, so.
it's readable. It's attractive.
Readable.
Yeah, it really is nice because
Thank you.
you can lose the information in the
Yes.
presentation. It
Yes.
just really highlights what needs to be lit.
And that's one of the main points that when we were working on this is there are other cities like Lake Oswego, Tigard, they have, 6 or 7 priorities. They have a staff that's 4 or 5 times larger than ours. So we wanted to make sure our plan was something we could actually get done and cross everything off. And then also make sure it was a plan that led to the health of this organization and everything else that we come in contact with. And then also just making sure that we're getting the community what it needs in the way that it needs it. So, yeah, it was a fun process, but I am glad to be done with it, let me tell you.
We're not done until next week.
Well, yeah, that's the easy part, I feel.
So the last item on the agenda is our student liaison, and since Linda and Jennifer were the 2 people who did the most work on it, I will let you guys talk about this.
I thought this young woman's name is Linnea Stormo, Stormo. I made it a point, I finally got that name down. She's a freshman this year at Candy High School. She is easily one of the most mature 14-year-old, I guess she's about 14. She's one of the most mature people of that age I have ever met. She answered questions and never batted an eyelash at anything that anybody asked her to do or asked her to explain. She clearly really, really wants to do this, and I really, really want her to. And I think she's gonna be great. I think she's gonna be great.
So just to fill you in, we had 2 applicants and 1 did not show.
Yeah.
The resume application of Linnea was superior to the other applicant who didn't show. And we tried so hard to reach the students at the high school. I don't know what more we could have done. I had 10 conversations with teachers, I had follow-up emails, I was at the career fair club fair for 3 days, followed up with the librarian twice. And I really feel like Linnea is, would be a benefit to our board. And I left so encouraged, and when I was walking in, I was discouraged at the student response we had. It made me rethink how difficult it is to get a young teen to fill this position. But when you find ones like Luke or Linnea, I think we're fortunate.
So I wanted to add that this young woman did a panel interview with 5 adults and never batted an eyelash. And I know adults who can't do panel interviews. And the fact that she was so well prepared, and I had given her a couple of tips, but she was much, much more well prepared than I had led her to be well prepared. I want to say also that I appreciate all the work that Linda and Jennifer did on this, because Linda was one really who found her, because by going up to Bigger Prairie Middle School. So once we get this done, I want to do.
I got scolded for doing that.
I wanted to do it like a process of like what we think best practices are for next time. Linnea was told that we would be voting tonight, and that we did expect a 2-year commitment out of this whatever student that we got. So we would love to have it for 4 years. That's my 2 cents. Amy, you have any more 2 cents you want to add?
Everything I had planned to say has been said. She was wonderful. She's very ready to do this and eager and just exactly what we're looking for.
I hate to sound like an English teacher, but the kid's handwriting is good. I mean, seriously, her application was like 2 pages long that she had handwritten, and it was, she's a smart kid. I think she's a super smart young woman.
And she has good family support for her to do this. So she's also, which is one of my concerns all along, she's a very serious student. And we asked a lot of questions about kind of her study habits, because I don't want some kid who's going to get into this job and then, their grades fall off and their parents come in and say, my kid's failing now because of this. I don't want to like that. So we asked a lot of questions about study habits and stuff. So
She's very confident, very organized, good at communicating. And I think it's also good to know that from the very beginning, from like back April, May, when we started that process, she was the one that was continuing to reach out. She checked in with Lois a bunch, she checked in with library staff a bunch. So that just told me that she wants to do it, is very interested in learning from the opportunity.
and she showed up 15 minutes early.
And she showed up, which is also like always a good thing. But I was very, very impressed with her. I felt like we kind of all knew it would go well, but it went even better than I thought it would have. So yeah, I think she'll be
So
awesome.
for the 2 people who weren't there, do you have any questions for us?
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised actually from your comments. Not that I was negative, it's just my wife's a retired teacher. She was explaining the mindset of all ages, and she said it's going to be hard because quote unquote the average teen or whatever, they want to be with friends, they want to be with younger people. How comfortable they're going to be with us, type of thing. And I think that's part of it, and some of them may or may not, for whatever reason, may just want to pad their resume with something to do, that looks good for admission purposes. And that's not our purpose, that's not our goal, is to just pad somebody's resume. We want someone that actually has some contributions to us. So, this may be one in a million, 1 in 1,000 type person. Which, if we're lucky.
200,000, because we had Luke too.
Yeah, the second one,
Yeah.
we're back in thousands so far.
Yeah.
But I'm just blown away that it was so successful in the interview. So, great.
So what I'd like to do is to vote on accepting Linnea end the meeting, and then go down and
Go see the mural.
Go see the mural, so, somebody make a motion that we,
I will make a motion that we recommend Linnea Stormo for the team liaison position.
My second motion.
everybody in favor?
Aye.
So, I will reach out to Linnea tonight or tomorrow and tell her that we have voted and that we're offering the position, but that she has to be approved by city council, which we should hope happen next week.
It likely won't happen next,
application.
it likely won't happen next week, it'll happen at the next one, cause I have to write up the staff report.
She can, come to the next meeting, and we gave her a copy of the schedule.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely by the next meeting for sure. The next city council meeting will be before this next meeting, so. The second one.
Okay, and with that, I'm going to end the meeting, and we're gonna go do a little field trip. All right.